Mcnair gives it to George, running right up the middle. Touchdown! Titans! There are no flags on the field! It's a miracle!
Safety, now you're one-on-one with it.
Shows why he's the man! In trouble. Sack!
Ladies and gentlemen, Titan Nation, welcome back to Mr. Titan. Today, my guest, we have the quarterback of the Tennessee Titans, former Titans quarterback. We have Billy Volek. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's a nice day here in Dallas, Texas. It's like 65. Where are you at right now?
I'm in San Diego.
Oh, that's even nicer weather. I've been to San Diego once, and it was beautiful compared to LA.
Yeah, I don't know how people can live in LA with all that traffic.
Yeah. When I went, it was crazy. It was gray, and then when we were driving up to San Diego, it was like the skies parted. It was blue. It was beautiful. The weather was nice, but I did have some margaritas in, I think it's called Old Town San Diego.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the hell they put in there, Billy, but I was with one drink I was gone. So
Yeah, they're pretty strong around there.
But all right, let's talk a little bit about your career. I mean, again, being an undrafted free agent, let's just go through that process, that mindset. Because I know I talked to Drew Bennett, him being a wide receiver coming out and being a free agent. I mean, the mindset's a little bit, I think you have to have a stronger mindset, correct?
I think so. You got to kind of earn your way. They're going to keep the guys. Uh-oh, your little banner fell down in the background.
Oh, I don't know if that's good or bad. That's a lot of wind.
Yeah. Guys who are drafted early, they're pretty much guaranteed a spot unless they really mess up in camp. And, guys like Drew and myself, and we got to go out there and every day, every practice, every meeting, we got to go out there and prove ourselves.
Definitely. Now, was football always in your background? Is that what you wanted to do, or was there something else that you kind of had in mind? And I mean, football just happened to be it.
Well, my dad was a football coach, so I was always around football. And then, I love the game, playing it in high school, and, went to Fresno State and very fortunate there, start for 3 years. And then I just wanted a chance to kind of see where my career went. And then going to Tennessee, I chose them just coming off the Super Bowl, and, they had Steve Mcnair, Neil O'Donnell, and a great nucleus, Coach Fisher and everything. So I just wanted a chance to continue to play and ride this wave as long as I could. I'm 45 years old and I don't know what I want to do, so I was just riding that wave as long as I could.
Definitely. Now when you first went into the Titans facility and stuff like that, who was the first person you talked to, player wise? Was there anyone that came up, kind of just jumped in there?
Yeah, I remember, I think it was Steve Mcnair. He was getting rehab on something. He was so beaten up, and, just came over and introduced himself. And I was like, you don't have to introduce yourself. I know who you are, And, but all the guys there were just so fantastic. And coming in with, guys like Peter Sermon and Keith Volek was just fantastic. Peter and I, we grew up in Walla Walla, Washington together, and we were best friends. So, he went to Oregon and I went to Fresno State, so we played each other a little bit. But just the guys that I came in with was just such a great class.
Definitely. Now, that mindset in that locker room, I mean, again, like you just said, they just finished going to the Super Bowl, losing. How was the mindset? How was that locker room, that presence?
It was fantastic. I remember the first team meeting with all the guys, and Coach Fisher got up front, and he was still, a little angry about that game, how it went down against the Rams. But, he got in front of us and said, hey, I want to win every game this year. And so everyone was pretty fired up about it. And we were loaded as a team. We had, Mcnair was, MVP with Peyton Manning and Frank Wycheck, Eddie George, Bruce Matthews. Our defense was outstanding. And so just coming into that that team, I was like, man, we're loaded, and it was just great guys, great coaching staff, great community. I love Nashville, one of the best cities in the world.
Definitely, 100%. And now, I bet you, I mean, from what you played, back in the day compared to now, I mean, it's just growing every day. Every year I go and visit, and it's like they add something new. I'm like, geez, like every day, every year, it's always something new, man. In Nashville, it keeps growing.
Yeah, I got to get out there. I miss the Southern hospitality. We don't get much of that out in California, but I need to go out there and see all the new growth.
Yeah, definitely. You should go. I mean, there's a few people that still live it. I mean, Keith is out there still, and he has his own business and stuff like that. So a lot of people, a lot of former players that played in Nashville stay in Nashville, and it's kind of you can tell why.
Right.
But talking about your career, all right. So you have Steve Mcnair, right? He takes you under his wing. What did you learn from Steve watching and him coaching you as well?
Well, watching was pretty much I can't run like this guy, so and take the shots that he took. He was just a God-given athlete and just a great human being. We all miss him so much, but he took me underneath his wing. So did Neil O'Donnell, for the 3 or 2 years that he was there. But it was a great experience for me. And Steve and I, for 5.5 years, had a great, relationship. And I was trying to help him out because he was banged up every week. I didn't know if he was going to play or not. So I was helping him with like our little cheat sheet of the new plays going in and stuff like that. And just trying to push him to be the best that he could. And obviously look at his career and how well he did.
Definitely. Is it a strange position to be, especially knowing that you're going to be a backup QB, but yet having a QB that, again, would McNair would be constantly hurt? I Drew told me that sometimes like he wouldn't practice for a whole week and then he'd play the game on Sunday, and everyone's like, "How's this guy doing it?" Was it kind of how did you feel? Like, was it just like you just had to be the next person up, ready to go, or how did that work? Especially
Yeah, pretty much, but I was fortunate because he didn't practice a lot. So
Okay.
I took a lot of the reps, with the starters. And, so if he did go down, I was prepared, ready to go. But I mean, he was beaten up, like they were putting him together every week. And I was telling my family so many times, early in my career, backing him up, hey, I'm going to start this week because this guy cannot play. And then somehow on Sunday, you come up with, hey, Bo, I'm going to give it a chance. And he'd go out there and he put on a great performance.
Definitely. As you see, like in the NFL as of right now, right? You see all these QBs coming in. What's some like maybe a form of style that you have? Like, what would be your style compared to someone NFL QB as of today? Like, who would be the closest to your comparison as a QB?
Geez, I don't know. I mean, I like to push the ball down the field, so maybe Matthew Stafford, but I don't have the arm that he does. I kind of like to move in the pocket a little bit,
Okay.
but there's Patrick Mahomes and, I can't move like him.
No.
But I really don't know. I can move a little bit, but not great. But I love to throw the deep ball. I think Russell Wilson throws a great deep ball. I mean, it just drops right down the wide receiver.
Yeah.
Even the quarterback that the Titans have right now, he's doing a great job.
Ryan Tannehill. Yep.
Yeah, Tannehill's doing great. So I don't know. I just kind of just try to get first downs and push the ball down the field like every quarterback's doing. But to try to compare myself to somebody else, I don't know if I can do that or them compare to me. Just the game has advanced so much. It's amazing what the quarterbacks are doing these days.
Now, as being a quarterback, was one of your main focuses when you get out of the huddle and stuff? Like, if you can go through that process, like, did you have kind of like almost like a rhythm or something that you always constantly did once you got to the line or anything like that?
I was always told I always licked my fingers right before. That was kind of, I don't know if it was a nervous twitch or just getting that texture perfect on your hands, but calling the play and getting everyone on the line of scrimmage and doing the shift or the motion, making sure everyone's lined up right. And but no, I just kind of went out there, and then once you get everyone lined up, you got to go out there and read the defense.
Definitely.
So, but we had a lot of smart guys. Derek Mason, Frank Wycheck, Drew. So they would help. Getting guys lined up, or even helping me get lined up sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, having wide receivers that are veterans or have been there, right? They've been there before. That can help you out. It's always a plus. Now, going from college to the NFL as a quarterback, what was the biggest difference?
The speed of the game.
Speed of the game.
I mean, I played in the Mountain West, at Fresno State, and the speed of the game was unbelievable. I mean, you got to remember, I came in and we had this guy named Javon Curse,
Yep.
and I didn't know guys that big could do backflips on the field and run that fast. So me, it was just kind of the speed of the game and how fast it went.
Definitely. Throughout your career, I know obviously you played with the Titans. You also played with the San Diego Chargers. You played under Phillip Rivers. How was he like, and how was that? How'd you take that information? What did he teach you as a quarterback of yourself? Because everyone, I'm assuming, it's almost like a different life lesson, right? You go.
Yeah, I mean, Steve was just a freak of an athlete. He could just make plays up, and I'd say Phillip was different because he couldn't move at all. But he could throw with the best of them, and he was a student of the game. So with Phillip, he helped me out on like game preparation. I'd get there at 6:37 with Tennessee, and Phillip would get there around 4:35. So, and we lived next to each other, which is nice. So we'd carpool, but just the time that he put into the game with prep work, at the facility or at home or this and that. I mean, he loved the game of football, and he was an awesome competitor too. So like if we lost a game and we were coming in at 4:30, like the next week we were going to come in at 3:30. We just grind and push each other and make sure we got a W that week.
Definitely. Now, going back on the tapes and stuff after a game, is it true that, most of the teams, they have a team meeting and they'll have everyone will sit down and watch. The offense will watch the offensive plays, defense will watch defensive plays. Is that true or no? That's kind of like.
Yeah. I would kind of do both, because, backing up with Mcnair or backing up, Phillip, I would have to know our game plan, know the defense pretty well, but then I'd also have to know, I'd have to be Peyton Manning for a week too. So I'm going up there doing all Peyton's Omaha calls and doing all that and trying to give our defense a good look. So when they went to the game, they knew what to expect. So that was kind of fun because every week I could be someone else. I remember when I was with the Chargers and we were playing Tennessee and y'all had Vince Young, and I would run around and like, hey, don't throw it down the field, just run the ball. So I'd drop back 7-step and just start running around, try to give the defense a look. But it was fun kind of knowing our defense, what we're going to play, and then also trying to impersonate the offense that our defense is going to see.
Definitely. And as of right now, what do you do? I see Top. I think it's.
Yeah, I own a Top Shelf. It's a delivery and moving company.
Okay.
So we do residential moves down here in Southern California. We'll go up to LA, Palm Desert, and then also we receive a bunch of furniture pieces, and we inspect it, and then we go do a white glove install.
Gotcha. Nice. Ever thought about coaching football again? Maybe being a QB coach, or the game is done for you?
I've thought about it, but my boys, they're 19 and 20 now.
Okay.
So, I got a chance to coach them in elementary school, and then, 7th and 8th grade, I got a chance to coach them in junior high school as well. They brought me on the staff and coached, and that was awesome. I remember I was offensive coordinator. I called like a smash route. My son ran a corner route, and the quarterback threw it perfectly. My son Carter caught the ball, and I'm freaking high stepping on the sideline. And these kids are like 12, 13 years old, and I'm high stepping. I'm like, man, I got to get a hold of myself. This is out of control.
But it worked. It worked though.
Yeah, the guys executed the play perfectly. But as far as coaching in college or pros, I don't know. I saw the time that the guys put in, the coaches, Mike Heimendinger, Craig Johnson, and it was like we put in long hours, but the coaches, they put in extremely long hours. And I kind of did my time, and I was very blessed and fortunate to play for 12 years. And now it's just a time to kind of, you know, try this whole top shelf thing out, which is
Yep.
pretty cool.
Definitely. Well, I'm glad that that's working out for you, man. Talking about coaching and how was Coach Fisher? If you could put in a couple words, your experience with Coach Fisher.
I enjoyed Coach Fisher, you know, for 6 years and 2 games. It was great. You know, then I got traded to San Diego, and then everything kind of blew up there at the end. And I mean, that's water underneath the bridge, you know. But playing for Coach Fisher was great. He had a great staff. You know, Munchak was awesome, you know, a Hall of Famer. So, you know, I was very fortunate to play for, you know, 3 coaches that should be Hall of Fame coaches, you know, Marty Schottenheimer, Norv Turner, and Coach Fisher. But through those 3 coaches really extended my career. So, you know, I owe them a bunch of attaboys, you know, thank you for helping me out. But Coach Fisher, like, he was a defensive guy. You know, he kind of gave the offense to Mike Heimerdinger and
Okay.
Coach Chow, but he was a defensive guy, and like, you could tell, like, you know, let's go. But I mean, Coach Fisher was great, very good to me.
Oh, awesome. All right. So towards the end of the show, I always like to, have a couple people ask fans that would like to ask questions to you. So here's a couple that we have. All right. So we have Drew Van Huss. He wants to know, what was it like being the only 4th QB to throw for over 400 yards in 2 consecutive games? What do you remember about those games?
Well, it was awesome. You know, I didn't know that record at the time. Unfortunately, we lost both games. You know, it was a shootout against Kansas City on Monday Night Football, and then out in Oakland, which was cool. I think I threw for 492, and
Yep.
Drew had like over 200 yards receiving, and all my family was there because we're from California. Drew was there, and it was awesome. You know, so that experience was great. I was hoping to get that 3rd game over 400 to be the first quarterback to do it, but unfortunately, I think Chicago came out there and we went no huddle.
Yeah.
And right away, Urlacher was like, "Watch this." I'm like, "Oh shoot, they got us dialed in pretty good." But I mean, it was great just to get the playing experience. You know, put up a lot of yards, a lot of numbers. I wish we would have won the games, but I mean, it was fun. I mean, just it was back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, the Oakland was a shootout. Again, regardless of the outcome, it was still an incredible game. And again, you were just on it. Was it just something that it just starts clicking for you, and it just makes the game easier when you're that locked in the zone?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not comparing myself to Jordan at all, but when you get in that zone, I mean, you're just in it, you know, and it felt like I couldn't miss. You know, I knew where everybody was going to be. I could read the defense perfectly. Coach Heimerdinger was calling just perfect calls. The O-line did great. I mean, it wasn't just me. Like, everybody was just getting after it. And but I was in the zone, definitely.
No, definitely. No, Mark, go this way. You can go that way. Yeah. Okay, we have a question from Paul Guerrera. He wants to know, with 2 Rockies, a tank on defense, and Coach Fisher, I'm curious, how was the locker room like? And were there any pranks amongst you all? Sorry, that's 2 questions.
First question, yeah, I mean, Tank was awesome. Both Rockies were great, you know. So we had a lot of studs on defense, and yeah, I was kind of a pretty big prankster. I don't even think Frank Wycheck knows this, but one practice I put icy hot on the bottom of his cleats, you know, right underneath the tongue. So he put it on, and he went out there to practice. And after like 10 minutes, he's sitting on the ground. His shoes are off, socks are off, and the top of his feet are just like fire red. You know, like the trainer's like, "What happened here?" And you know, this is the first time I've ever admitted that. But I would always do pranks to guys just to keep it light, you know, because the season was so long.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was probably my favorite prank to Frank. So sorry, Frank, it was me.
There we go. We have to get Frank on so he can talk about it. See, we got Edward. Edward wants to know, how did it feel when fans were cheering your name right before you got traded, when Vince and Kerry were stinking it up?
Honestly, it was hard because game 2 we flew out to San Diego and played the Chargers, and Chargers kicked our butt pretty good, then came back, and you know, a few days later I got traded to San Diego. But the fans in Nashville were the best I've ever been around, so my heart goes out to them, and, I hope they know I gave it everything I could every day for them. But to leave Nashville, it was tough. Fortunately, San Diego is a nice place to land.
Yeah. And that's one thing about, especially a player that you follow and you like, again, the player doesn't have any control. The fans don't have any control, but it's something that like kind of leaves just like a kind of like, damn, it's just like almost like Jarrell Casey when he got traded to Denver. It was just something that,
Right.
that that player has been, part of your life and part of this journey with you, because that's what it is. And to see him go, it sucks. But like I said, there's enough people in Tennessee that still love you, still care about you, and want to. And they were really excited when I told them that I was going to get you on. I was excited because that's
Cool.
one thing I like doing. I like, seeing what their life is like. A lot of people, after football, it's like they're done with it, but we're still curious and still want to know what's happening.
Yeah. Well, I miss the fans, and a few years ago, my buddy Hedge, he sent me a picture of one of the fans, and he had a Volek jersey on.
There
So
you
I
go.
was like, man, that's pretty cool.
It
I
is.
appreciate that.
All right, we got one more question. The last one. This one's a good one. All right, we got Haley Thornhill. She wants to know, some of your best games still ended in losses, mostly due to defense. How frustrating is that as a quarterback, and especially as a backup who has limited chances to prove yourself?
Well, I try to prove myself every day, and those games were, showed some of the things that I could do. But I mean, it was tough, to lose those games. And I remember towards the end of the game in Oakland, Kevin Carter came over to me and just hugged me and said, "Hey, man, I'm sorry. We can't stop anybody right now." I mean, shoot, some games we couldn't score at all. The defense played great. So it was always a team effort. And, we were banged up those games that, I was throwing the ball all around the park. But it's always a team effort. You don't win with the special teams, offense or defense. But, we're a pretty banged up team, but we kept on fighting.
There you go. Last question from me to you. Okay, so did you watch the playoff games with the Titans, the Bengals versus Titans?
I did.
Okay. Ryan, it's been a hot topic, and again, I don't like throwing anyone under the bus. I'm just curious. Again, you obviously are, a QB. A lot of people blame the receivers. A lot of people blame the offensive coordinator, the play calling, and then obviously you have the quarterback. I have several players that told me, the quarterback is always going to get blamed regardless, even if he didn't do anything. That was Delaney Walker, tight end, who told me that. What did you think about that last play with Ryan Tannehill throwing the interception to pretty much seal the game?
Well, I don't think he did it on purpose. I think the quarterback gets too much praise when a team wins, and I think they get too much fault when the team loses. But that's playing quarterback. So everything ends with you. But I think he's a great quarterback, and for whatever reason it happened. I don't know the call. I don't know the defense. I don't know what he's looking at, but it's not like he probably did it on purpose. And if anything, that's just going to make him have a great offseason and come back even stronger next year.
Definitely. All right, Billy. I took up too much of your time. I know.
No, it's good.
I know you're a busy man and stuff like that. But I just want to say that it's been an honor to watch you. It's an honor to have you on the show. And thank you for everything that you left your blood, sweat, and tears on the field. And everyone in Nashville, our Titan fans, appreciate you, man.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. And I mean, I'll always be a Titan. I love the Titan Nation, and I got to get back to Nashville. So
definitely, maybe we'll do that. We'll line something up. I usually have an event in Nashville for the home opener, so maybe we can get a couple players around. That'll be kind of cool.
All right, let's do it. Sounds good.
All right, Billy. Well, thank you so much, man. God bless.
All right, you too. Take care.